When a relationship ends, it's best for the parties to pick themselves up and move on. But what if there are unsettled matters and unfinished things left undone? This also happens in work situations where an employee resigns or is terminated and yet they don't go through the clearance process.
Walang closure, attorney.
So, just like this question from Angela N, who asks, with regard to the new policy released by the DOLE about final pay, which is Labor Advisory 6 series of 2020, what if the employee did not complete his or her clearance due to AWOL and went back to get his final pay?
Oh, wow.
Umalis, no? Tapos,
Ang AWOL, pero where's my final pay?
Oo.
Okay.
Should we still release his final pay within 30 days after the effectivity date of his resignation, even if he did not complete the 30 days? Isn't it unfair for the employer if we still release the final pay? How much can we deduct from the employee if he did not complete the 30-day turnover period? Now, if you feel the same way as Angela or you're in the same position, stick around as we tackle this topic. This episode is brought to you by the Complete Employee Discipline System, a book that teaches owners, managers, and supervisors how to handle any offense easily and systematically. It provides step-by-step procedures from incident reports all the way to the clearance process. Stand your ground and discipline with confidence. Go to info.legalguide.ph/discipline to learn more. Welcome to Legal Guide Philippines, where we simplify the law to help you make better choices. I'm Attorney Roman Ramirez, and I'm with my partner,
Attorney Erwin Zagat.
So, today we're talking about employees who don't go through the clearance process, attorney. What about their final pay? What do we do with that? What about clearance? Isn't that unfair?
So, itong mga empleyado, basically umalis.
Mhm.
Pero bumalik, nakaganyan na.
Where's
so-
my final pay? hindi lang umalis, nag-AWOL pa. Tama ba?
Yun ang matindi.
Okay.
Oo. So, akala mo hindi mo na makikita.
Mm.
Yung pala.
Where's my final pay?
Okay. So, I think the first question that was posed is, should you pay for the turnover period? Hindi man lang nag-render ng turnover period. So, ito, there's a misconception kasi na under the law, di ba? Naku, may 30-day period. So, we have to pay that kahit na wala siya. And the answer is no. Under the law, you are only required to pay for the things that the employee worked on.
Okay.
Diba? So kung pumasok siya, bayad yun. Kung hindi, bakit naman magbabayad ka? I don't see the logic or the legal basis for that. Now, kung sakaling pumasok naman siya within the 30 days, syempre babayaran natin.
Yeah.
No problem yun eh. But if hindi nag-render, then no need to pay for that. I hope that's clear.
Clear.
Now, let me take it one step further.
Okay.
You might be thinking, Attorney, grabe naman, iniwang kami, hindi man lang nag-render, di ba? So, parang yun na lang yun. Kung sakaling ano man yung na-earn niya up to that point, bayad siya. That's not the case. The labor code provides you with a remedy. In fact, if the employee who did not do a turnover caused damage, you can actually charge that employee for the damages that they caused as a result of not doing the turnover period. And if you want to learn more about handling AWOL employees, very specific kasi yung mga requirements when it comes to AWOL employees, I would highly recommend looking over our other articles on AWOL, but more particularly, if you want to go deeper into the topic, go to info.legalguide.ph/AWOL to learn more. There's a whole workshop on specifically handling AWOL employees that I think would really help them.
Yep, go there.
Now, let's talk about yung final pay.
Okay.
Eto na, so umalis. Hindi na clearance. Niho, wala. Pero pagbalik, final pay na.
Nakagano na.
Hinahanap.
Alright.
Now, medyo babangga dito yung Labor Advisory 6 series of 2020 from the Department of Labor and Employment.
DOLE.
Kasi it deals with final pay.
Okay.
More particularly, ano yung inclusions, kailan nilalabas, as well as the certificate of employment.
Okay.
Now, sinasabi kasi dito sa advisory na final pay shall be released within 30 days.
30 days.
From the date of separation or termination of employment. Unless there's a more favorable company policy, individual, or collective agreement.
Okay.
So 30 days ang default, Pero kung sakaling may company policy na mas mabilis, hindi yun ang susundin.
Or collective agreement. No?
Yes.
CBA.
Now, where this gets tricky is walang binanggit yung labor advisory about clearance. So medyo may butas ng konti doon. Hindi na-address yun.
Okay.
So here is where the question comes in. Attorney, naiintindihan ko yung 30 days. DOLE, naiintindihan ko yung 30 days. Pero paano nga pag hindi nag-clearance? Paano kapag maraming hindi pa na ibabalik? Let me give you guys an example of ano ba yung mga empleyadong hinahabol for clearance. Ito usually yung mga empleyado na maraming hawak na company assets. Kaka-issue mo lang ng latest na cellphone.
Okay.
Naka-company plan. Ayaw ibalik. In fact, minsan nga, ginagamit pa habang wala na siya doon.
For
diba?
personal.
For personal.
Kahit wala na.
Or company laptops.
Laptops, yes.
Or pwedeng company IDs. Medyo may ibang kumpanya na maselan kasi pwedeng gamitin yung ID to access sensitive places or access sensitive files.
Or represent themselves as still part of the company.
So very important for the company to get that back.
Yeah.
Ito pa matindi. Company car.
Company, naman. It's a big asset.
Hihintayin mong ibalik yun, hindi?
Dapat, yes. Kailangan.
Diba? Pwede rin uniforms. Kasi pwede nga gamitin, di ba? Kunwari, representative pa rin sila. Or pwedeng may mga natanang company products in their custody. Paano kung medyo mamahalin yung mga items? Diba?
Right.
Wouldn't you want that back? And I think that's the situation where most employers find themselves in. Ano to? Nasa kanya lahat yun, tapos ibibigay ko yung final pay kasi sinabi ng labor advisory na within 30 days dapat ilabas. Hindi pa nga binabalik. Yun yung problema dito.
Kasi hindi pa nagka-clearance. So hindi pa binabalik. Alright.
Now, I think there are two situations here with regard to the labor advisory. First situation is, meron naman kasi mga empleyado na wala naman liabilities.
Okay.
Alam mo naman from the start na malinis to. Diba? Kunwari, wala namang kailangan ibalik, wala namang utang, walang advances. In which case, I would wholeheartedly recommend just comply with the release of the 30-day final pay release schedule. Ilabas na ninyo, wala naman palang hinihintay. No problem.
Wala namang issue.
Oo, that's scenario number 1. Ito naman yung scenario number 2 na
Okay.
marami pang kailangan ibalik.
Okay. Maraming utang. Maraming hindi binabalik.
Oo.
Okay.
Company car na lang, di ba? Sumasakit ulo
Well,
na.
we had an experience with that, no?
Yes.
Company car, yeah.
Yes. So here is the way, this is my personal interpretation of how I would try to reconcile that. So the labor advisory has to be taken into consideration with all of the other laws, including decided cases or jurisprudence.
Okay.
In one case that comes to mind is Milan versus Nlrc. It's a 2015 case. You can Google it.
Relatively new.
And in this case, the Supreme Court recognized the right of the employer to establish reasonable clearance procedures. So pwede.
So pwedeng mag-clearance muna.
Recognized yung right ng employer na mag-institute ng clearance procedures. So, attorney, actually magandang basahin mo to.
Yeah, attorney.
So, let's take an excerpt from the case. Attorney!
Attorney Basa.
Go.
Okay. The law does not sanction a situation where employees who do not even assert any claim over the employer's property are allowed to take all the benefits out of their employment while they simultaneously withhold possession of their employer's property for no rightful reason. The employee's benefits are also not being reduced.
Uy, malinaw yun.
Malinaw.
Okay.
It is only subjected to the condition that the employees return properties properly belonging to the employer. This is only consistent with the equitable principle that no one shall be unjustly enriched or benefited at the expense of another.
Ayun.
Clear ba, attorney?
Let's make it clearer for them.
Sige.
So under the case, if you go to the original, actually diniscuss na as a general rule, bawal pakialaman yung wages due to the employee. However, this is an exception. Ang basis nga naman, sandali, kukunin mo yung buong sweldo mo, pero actually ang daming assets na nasa sa'yo. And this includes not only properties at Ramon. Pwede kasi may mga utang ka pa sa kumpanya.
Right.
Or kunwari may mga advances na hindi pa na-liquidate. Siyempre, pwede ba naman na ikaw makikinabang at the same time hindi mo ibabalik yung rightfully owned by the company?
Unfair naman yun.
That's unfair. So I think this is an exception to the labor advisory. I was kind of hoping that that can be clarified in future advisories. Tingin ko soon
Yeah.
it can be
We
clarified.
have faith.
Mhm. Now,
Okay.
while wala pang clarification,
Mhm.
why don't we give them some tips, Attorney Ramon, on how to protect themselves
Sure.
in line with the labor advisory and clearance processes? So I will be giving you two ideas. First idea, I want to document the fact that the company is ready to release the final pay subject to clearance procedures. And
Okay.
what is the best way to do that? Siyempre, papel.
Okay.
So I would recommend, kung ready naman kayo, send a memo to the employee. Mr. Employee, ready na kami to release the final pay. Subject to you completing the clearance procedures. To complete the clearance procedures, here is what you should do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pakibalik itong mga bagay na to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whatever you guys want the employee to do to process the clearance, you can put it in that memo.
Of course, it goes without saying that these clearance processes should be reasonable naman. It's not
Mhm.
like it's gonna be used as a way to ano naman,
Oo.
to hinder the employee from ano.
Even the case stated reasonable clearance processes
Yeah.
yung recognize the Supreme Court.
Okay.
So what this does legally is it protects you. Why? Kung sakaling 30 days lumagpas na, si employee pupunta ngayon ng DOLE.
Mm.
Hindi po nilalabas yung final pay ko.
Mm.
Inaapi ako.
Mhm.
Kawawa naman ako.
Illegal termination.
Hindi naman, hindi naman, hindi
Default na ano nila yun. Eh.
Oo.
Okay, okay.
Na hindi po ako binabayaran ng karapat-dapat ng sa akin.
Hmm.
You can go to the DOLE kung sakaling magpaset ng meeting, and then you can always present the paper. Mr. Employee, actually, tagal ka na namin hinihintay. Ikaw lang yung hindi nag-undergo ng clearance process. So I think that would keep your company safe. And if the DOLE representative sees that, I have a fairly good expectation na ibabalansin na yun. And then they would probably advise the employee na, oh, ikaw na lang pala hinihintay.
Yeah.
Wala namang problem. Again, as the case stated, hindi naman wini-withhold or binabawasan yung entitlement. Hinihintay lang na ma-reconcile that way kung ano man yung sa kumpanya, makuha ng kumpanya, and kung ano man yung sa'yo, maibigay ng maayos.
Nice.
I think that's a very reasonable way
Very
of
reasonable.
looking at it. Now, I have a second tip.
Okay.
And this comes from my very good friend, Miss Tina Ho Ang from tinainmanila.com.
Tina in Manila.
And
Hi.
she's one of the admins for one of the groups that we habitually help out with, the Philippines HR Group. Hello, everyone from Philippines HR Group.
Hi.
We're happy to be of service. So this tip comes from Tina. Kasi ang point ni Tina, minsan, pagdating na sa dulo, nagkakalimutan na.
Mhm.
Parang sa mga empleyado, sometimes, hindi, nasa na yung final pay ko, nasa na yung final pay ko. So what she does is she made systemic adjustments.
Okay.
Yung sistema nila mismo, sa company nila, yung inayos niya.
Nice.
And I would like to share this.
Okay, go.
Doon sa onboarding, what they did was, they created a mini module or lecture specifically on clearance and resignation. So sinasama sa onboarding, sige, kung sakaling kayo magre-resign or na-terminate, ito po ang gagawin para makuha ang final pay.
So when you say onboarding, it is like yung pinagdadaanan ng empleyado pagpasok.
Bago pa deploy,
Bago.
bago magsimula magtrabaho, pinapaliwanag na na maayos kung ano yung gagawin kung sakaling ikaw naman pa-exit na ng kumpanya.
Galing, ah.
That way, kung sakaling biglang yung employee sa dulo magsabi, kawawa naman ako, hindi nilalabas yung final pay ko, pwedeng ipakita ng company, ano to? Di ba ito yung clearance procedure natin na diniscuss nung onboarding mo? Ano to?
Nakapirma ka pa dyan.
Oo. Ayun. So magiging malinaw na you only have to go through clearance. And wala namang wini-withhold sa'yo. Dumaan ka lang ng clearance, ilalabas naman yan. But not before. Yeah.
Nice. So thank you for that, Tina.
Thank you, Tina.
That's awesome.
So I think we covered a lot. Attorney Roman, do you mind giving us a recap?
Now, sure, let's do it. So first, we talk about the first question is, should you pay for the turnover period even if they went AWOL? And the answer is no, right? Hindi dapat. Now, should I pay them without clearance? Of course, the answer is also no, no, because unfair naman. And the Supreme Court has also acknowledged that the employer can impose reasonable
Clearance
procedures.
Yes.
Right? So that's the answer to that. Lastly, Attorney Erwin gave us 2 tips on how an employer or the company can protect themselves. The first one is to send them a memo showing them that we're ready to pay your your final pay. However, you just have to fill up yung clearance process. Okay? And then the next one is galing naman kay Tina of Tina in Manila. So doon pa lang sa onboarding of the employee, already discuss the clearance process in case the employee will resign. Right? Okay ba yan, Attorney Erwin?
Sounds good.
All right.
For most of you, this video was more than enough. And if it makes your life easier, you're welcome. But there are some of you who will watch this video and end up asking more questions, such as, Attorney, what do you put in the certificate of employment? Or Attorney, how do you process the exit of an employee to get to this point? Or Attorney, what else are they entitled to aside from the certificate of employment? Ang daming tanong na pwedeng lumabas.
True.
If that's you, then I invite you to check out the Complete Employee Discipline System. It's a book where we teach you our roadmap to handling employee discipline cases from start to finish. So you know what the next step is. We provide you the map. Regardless of where you are in the process, you will never get lost. And you will know what to do next. Get the book at info.legalguide.ph/discipline today.
Now, to add to that, if you want us to tackle your question in our show, as we did for Angela, go to www.legalguide.ph and click the submit topic button. Next, we'd like to know what's your biggest takeaway. So write it in the comments and let's talk about it. Last, if you feel we've earned a good rating, please give us a like and subscribe because it gives us feedback that we're doing a good job and it encourages us to do more videos.
One last thing. We always encourage all employers to give employees their dues. If they are entitled to it, there's no reason why it should be withheld from them. But some employees make it harder on themselves by trying to take a shortcut. No clearance, just final pay. Guys, it doesn't work that way. If you want to get the final pay as soon as possible, just go through the proper procedure and get your clearance. That way, you comply with the law, you clear your accountabilities, and you leave the company with dignity and mutual respect. So wasn't that simple?
Now go make better choices.